Bada bing bada.
Hi.
Hello. It is too late.
It is. It is far too late.
Yes.
And if you had heard the last 5 minutes of the recording that we have now cut out, you would know that this is basically Hot Mess Express Part 2, but at
Buckle
nighttime.
in.
Yeah,
Yes, which
buckle up.
is probably going to be a rougher ride if we're being honest.
Yeah, because we were at least somewhat on top of our game because it was morning time during Hot Mess Express episode. It
Yes, I
is
was
not
drinking
morning time.
coffee at that point, and that is not my drink of choice at the moment.
Tis not.
No,
Tis
it's
not.
wine.
It is wine.
It is.
It's Wine Thursday.
It seems right. I mean, it's almost the weekend.
It basically is like the weekend.
You literally couldn't get
Weekend.
closer to the weekend
Weekend Eve, if you will.
day-wise.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Updates. So we had an episode where we talked about how we were in the Ocala National Forest and it sounded like bombs were going off around us.
Yeah.
That was in our Woodsy Shenanigans episode. Turns out it was. It was bombs. There is a bombing range. So I have a coworker who worked in that forest for some amount of time, and she is familiar with the bomb range just south of the National Forest. So we may or may not have been in the bomb range. We were close to it, at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it exists.
It does.
It's real. It was not a fragment of your imagination from all the walking and getting lost. You were in a bombing range.
Or very close to it. Yes. Yeah.
No, you were in it. There's just that's it. Period.
Possibly. Just kidding. Not possibly.
If I sound really loud to you guys, it's because this whole time I haven't been using my mic. I have been using the mic from my MacBook, and that's not correct.
It's not great. No. Yeah, I thought
I've
Amber
basically been screaming this whole time.
We were trying to come up with all the reasons why too. I'm in a closet, so we were thinking maybe because the room I'm in is smaller.
Yeah.
I was about to ask Amber to sit in a little tent of sheets with a plunger.
The plunger
holding
is
it
my
up.
favorite part. This specifically saying the plunger, not like a broom. This is the second time she said it, and both times it was a plunger.
There's a podcast I listen to, and that's why we drink, and they had to do that. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck on the plunger holding it up. I guess it could be a broom.
It could be, yeah. Seems
The
a
plunger's
little
kind of
more
nice because
sanitary.
well, you want to use a new plunger.
Who just has a new plunger laying around?
No, this is a specific podcasting plunger. You definitely don't want to use the used plunger. Speaking of that, actually, this is something that has come up in my not too distant past. Have you ever had a man that you were with try to plunge the sink?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you could. I can tell by your face that you probably
So
shouldn't.
you could, if it was, again, a new plunger, right?
Fair point. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Me and a girlfriend had this in common. And it was kind of funny because for Christmas, the joke gifts that we got each other so like what I got for her significant other and what she got for my significant other was the same joke gift.
Was it a
And
plunger?
it was a sink plunger.
That's amazing.
Because both of our men have tried to plunge the sink with
the nasty plunger.
The toilet plunger. What?
So now that you're just in a rush. You grab it. You don't think about all the poop particles that have been on there.
I cannot not think about that. That's get a new sink. Throw the sink away. We need a new sink
now. The whole
sink
has to go. That's fair.
It's got to go.
That's totally
It's got to go. It's like that coffee machine I used to have.
Oh, we don't talk about that. That makes my stomach hurt.
Oh, here's a good update. The new one that we got instead makes like lattes and cappuccino. It's very nice. I
Oh,
love
well,
it.
then you're just you were supposed to discover that the other one was disgusting. Full of cockroaches. Not really. I'm just kidding.
Just one
There was
confirmed.
a cockroach.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Or something.
Something, like
A critter of
those.
sorts with many legs.
How many
Too many
legs?
legs too many for my comfort.
Just too many. Yeah, that's right. That's the right answer. Yeah, that's fair.
Mhm, mhm.
What other updates do we have here? All right. New phone update. It's not broken, and I do not miss the home button.
I knew
So,
it.
for those of you who were on the edge of your seat wondering how I'm doing without the home button, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm still figuring it out, but I'm fine.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, Tori was right. Didn't
Thank you.
miss it. You're
Mhm.
welcome. You're welcome.
I just noticed your name.
I like yours too. I actually meant to say something because we are trying to go in alphabetical order for sanity's sake when we're editing. And so Tori has taken on the role of just doing the ABCs every week when she creates her username. And hers is cattywampus. And that is like probably my favorite word ever
Nice.
in
What's it
existence.
mean?
It means like sideways, like at an angle.
Like catty corner?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Cattywampus. Yeah.
Did you know people up north say kitty corner?
No, but I hate that. I'm never going.
So
Don't ever let me go north. Ew.
and the funny thing is I always thought it was catty corner, CADDY, like a golf caddy.
Right. But
So I
it's
went up north to my husband's family. They all live up north, and they're all saying kitty corner left and right. Kitty corners,
and you're like,
little
where is the
kitties.
kitty? Everyone keeps saying kitty. Where the fuck is the kitty? There's not one.
Where's the kitty? And also, like, a catty corner is not at all what came into my mind as to what that could have been, because I'm not thinking catty corner. I was thinking caddy corner.
Catty. The enunciation was really good. It was very
And now
ASMR.
cattywampus.
Cattywampus is good. For those of you who can't see what we see, mine is I love it when you call me Big Mama. What's going on this week?
So my week has been my 3 days. So it's been about 3 days since we recorded last. Again, we're trying to get more recent
Yeah.
between recording and releasing. So our schedule's kind of all out of whack right now, which is why we're here recording at 8 p.m. on a Thursday night. And we're doing well. We're doing okay with that.
Clearly.
And yeah, the 3 days since we recorded last, they've been kind of so the week has been okay. Uneventful. Speaking of uneventful, Vanderpump this week. It was another meh episode. It was good. Anne is saved. I'm glad to see that hashtag. I think that might be on us, really, because we had that
We did
hashtag
that.
save Anne thing.
Yeah.
So
That's probably the most interesting thing that happened in this episode was seeing that Anne works for Ariana now.
yes, that was the highlight of the episode.
Yeah. It's like, woo, finally some good news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something about her still not open. The conversation between Sandoval and Sheena. Sheena said, like, Tom's the only person who's always had her back.
Yeah.
It seems like a strange comment.
It's just so weird.
It's hyperbolic. It's like, no, he's not.
I think honestly it's just Delulu. Like there's no other, like, why are you hyping up this relationship in your head so much? It's really weird. And at this point it's like, give it up already.
I know.
Please.
And Ariana keeps saying, like, he never cared about you. And I think that's very telling. Like, I don't think Ariana would just, like, say that because that can actually hurt someone.
Exactly.
I don't think she would do that. Yeah, just to be mean. But, like, I think she's saying, like, he legitimately didn't care. And that was the vibe I always got, too.
Yeah.
Super here for Lala's birthday dress. Yeah, I love that dress. Super.
Wow. My nipples could never.
My boobs could never.
Like, there's just no way. She looks great, though.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love it. Yeah. Schwartz is looking like Boris Johnson.
It's Boris Johnson.
Oh, you Google him. He's the prime minister in the UK. Amber, his team lets him out like that. Do you see his hair?
He does look like Boris Johnson. I think that is the most accurate thing you've ever said. If I ever get another cat, I'm going to name it Boris.
Yes. That's a perfect cat name.
That's a good cat name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He do be looking like Boris, though.
He does. That is quite hilarious and accurate. Good on you.
I can't believe you didn't know. Just like, I feel like he's so well known just because his hair is such a fucking mess all the time. Like,
I know
his
now.
team, he's the prime minister of the UK, and his team lets him out in public like that. Like, there's not one person back there with a fucking comb.
No, they're like, he's like, I'm the prime minister. I don't have to do that. Like, I respect it. If I had a high position like that, I'd be like, look, I want to look disheveled. I want them to know how
The
messed
truth.
up this is. Yeah. Because I can imagine that's not a lot of fun. Like, that's probably not a fun job.
I can't imagine so. He's been doing it forever.
Well, yeah, it shows. I see that.
Schwartz's proposal, that was odd. Schwartz was telling Tom that he thinks he's actually ready to maybe move in with him, and like proposed to Sandoval like on a boardwalk because
oh my God, I really wasn't even paying attention. I have no recollection of this.
It was like a really quick thing. Like the way I'm saying it is making it sound like it was a bigger, but it was kind of a quick scene. They didn't like embellish it.
That's kind of cute for Schwartz and Sandoval. Like, one of the things that made me the most sad about everything that happened with Sandoval was that it really messed with their relationship, which is a huge bummer because they have been friends for such a long time. So it has been kind of weird to watch them this season. It has been really sad to see like the death of their brotherhood. Like, they're still friends, obviously, but I just think it'll never be the same between them.
Maybe it will though.
But yeah, maybe if they're moving in together.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe anyone in their right mind would pay $6,000 a month for rent.
No way. I saw in the after show, I think Schwartz was talking about maybe even buying in on the house with Sandoval. But it seemed like that was filmed later and that still hadn't happened.
Gotcha.
You know, like he's considering it at that point. But yeah.
Did you see the photos of the house that Ariana bought recently?
No.
It looks really cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a photo up from the outside, but it looks like a tree house. Like, it's got like really huge windows and it looks really cool. So good for her. Yeah.
Yeah. They're on the boat and Tom said to Lala as they're like driving like near the Golden Gate Bridge and stuff. Tom says to Lala, "Oh yeah, Ariana and I came out here. This was like one of our first trips or something." And Ariana is like seats down on the boat. Like, what is he doing? I don't
I think he just seeks to infuriate her in the like most passive aggressive ways possible, and that's one of his tactics.
And I feel like she knows it because she knows him better than everyone, but then she looks crazy when she gets mad about it because people are like, "Oh, he didn't really do, he was saying something nice." Because he was like, "Oh, it was such a great date." But like, shut up, dude.
Ariana does have a point about not having to forgive him. I do agree that that's some like outdated therapy tactics. You do not have to forgive somebody to move on. I think it would be a beautiful world if that were possible, but I think there's just too many despicable things that you can do to another human being that's just not how it works. And I don't understand why anyone is trying to push her to forgive him. Like, it's not for her benefit. Anyone that's trying to push her to forgive him, it's not for their own benefit. Brock is probably only barking up that tree because Sheena's his wife, and it would be best for Sheena if Ariana forgave Tom and made everything easier for everybody else.
Yeah, I totally agree. And good on her for sticking up to, and I feel like he really didn't know what else to say because he didn't have much more of a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
He's, like, trying to convince her, and he's realizing, like, as he's doing it, that he doesn't really have a good reason for it, I
No,
feel like.
not at all.
And that she's making a good point. And then she also said that, like, if the scenario was swapped and it was a male who was, like, holding on to this anger, people would be like, wouldn't even bat an eye at it, and
Yeah,
I
but
literally said out loud, I was like, "Oh, that's so true."
the female rage is unacceptable.
Mhm,
Yeah, because it makes people uncomfortable because they know she's right.
mhm. And our job in society is to make people comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I um do that a lot. I'm very good at making other people feel comfortable, and it always surprises me when I allow myself to not do that. Today on a work meeting, m- my boss asked me a question that I have answered 3 times. I have. And so he asked the question, and I immediately was like, "Yeah, no, I answered that already 3 times. And this is the same thing I said every single other time." And like the shock that went across his face. And I immediately was like, "Sorry." And then I took a second. I was like, "No, I'm actually not sorry. I have said that 3 times."
amazing, I love that.
And my boss is great. So he just like laughed it off. It was like, "No,
Right.
no one listens unless I'm screaming. For real. Like, unless I'm losing my mind, you're not listening to me."
Yeah,
Because I've answered
it's
that.
yep. And, like, if you missed, like, things that other people have said to you
Yeah.
repetitively,
Then
it'd
I
be a
would
thing.
be
It'd be like,
bad at
"Man,
my
she's so
job
she's
or
so ditzy, she's so
flaky.
forgetful."
Yes. Yes.
Mm, 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 mm.
So there's that. I was so proud of myself. I was like, sorry. No, no, I'm not. I'm actually not.
I I love that. Oh my god. I'm,
Like,
like,
they watched me work
writing
through
that
that.
taking notes over here.
Yeah, it was
Um,
ballsy, but
I love
it did
it.
okay.
Yeah. Ariana seems to be accepting Schwartz's presence more,
Yeah.
which is, I guess she's loosening up a little bit on her, like, kind of stronghold on not being around.
I think they forced her into that, and, like, she had
I
to
do
like,
too.
nobody has really listened to her boundaries thus far, so
Mhm. Yeah, which is strange, I feel like, from her friend's perspective,
it
like,
is.
it's just strange, yeah. Ariana and Sandoval were wearing nearly the same shoes, and James, like, pointed it out and then said something like he's like, "Oh, it's just, like, old time's sake," or something. I can't remember what he said, or something like that, and then Tom Sandoval, like, shrugs and goes, "Yeah, great minds," and, like, looks over at Ariana, and she was just, like, so disgusted, I think, and just, like, got up and walked away, and then that's when,
He,
like,
like, throws her
Schwartz
shoes in the street. Just fuck these shoes.
and that's when Schwartz, like, approached, like, Ariana and Katie, like, over by that bush, and then Ariana, like, left and, like, Schwartz, like, propositioned her.
Okay, so this is where I definitely stopped watching, but I did see the preview of, like, Schwartz asking Katie. Did he ask her to have a one night stand? Is that for real what he asked?
Mhm. No, he did, yep.
Was he
Yeah.
like, what would give him were there any
He's
signs that made
no,
you think like, "Oh, maybe
not to
not a
me,
one,
no. Yeah.
not a one."
Um, yeah, he was just like, "For old time's sake, like, let's get a hotel room and, like, get $150, like, candy budget or something, and just sit in bed and scroll on our phones," he said. And she was like, "No, that's too intimate, no." She did smirk a little, there was a little, like,
Yeah.
giggle,
Oh.
but it did not
Oh.
happen. It didn't seem like it happened, at least. But,
I hope not. Oh, and
um
your question, is Joe there while Schwartz is proposing a one night stand to Katie?
yeah, because 'cause didn't he say at the beginning of the episode that Joe was going to San Francisco with them?
Yes. Yeah.
What do we think of the convo between Sandoval and Sheena? They went out, like, on the balcony, and Sheena I can't remember why they got on this topic. Sandoval, like, invited her out there, but then she told him that he needs to apologize for, like, bringing up Ariana's, like, mental health stuff and using that against her. And he actually kind of like seemed like he was letting it sink in, or at least pretending like he was. And didn't like argue back and just like took it. So
That would just be, I feel like this could all be over so much faster if he had just been humble from the beginning. Like, yeah, I know I fucked
right.
up, but he's been trying to argue with everyone all season.
Mm-hmm. So he did finally say that. He was like, me like trying to, I don't know, defend myself or tell my side of the story or something came off as me like putting blame on Ariana. And I was like, that's because you did, though. You did put
You
blame on
absolutely,
Ariana.
yeah.
It wasn't that it came off that way. It was that you did do
Yeah,
that.
but leave it to Amanda. Like, you can't take full accountability. We're not going to take
Right.
100%, Tori. Like, we're
Right.
going to take like 60.
He was maybe at a 60. I'd say 40 to 60.
That sounds that's generous for Tom Sandoval
It's
also.
improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to like give him any stars.
I don't think we should. No.
No stars given.
Yeah.
Okay,
Still,
that's good.
yeah. I'm
That's
just
good.
like, I kind of picture myself as I was friends with Ariana. So like he's just dead to me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't change. Like
Yeah. And I wish the rest of
he,
the cast could have figured out that loyalty.
right.
They did not.
So the Valley.
Okay, I just want to say that I'm pissed because I have boycotted the Valley thus far, and I only watched last week's episode because I knew there was going to be a physical altercation of some kind based on the preview. So I watched it. It hooked me. And then this week I was like, "Oh, what
It's
is
boring.
this?" It was boring. Although,
Yeah.
okay, I will say I really like Danny and Nia. They're the ones who just had twins. And then I think they also have like a 3-year-old or 4-year-old. I'm not sure how old the other child is.
They're my
But
favorite.
they were really sweet. And I really liked that part of the episode, like seeing Nia working through and like accepting that this could be more than just the baby blues. I know that feeling of realizing something is more than it is and how hard that is to accept and say out loud to yourself. So I really liked that they shared that part of her journey because I think so many
Same.
people go through that. Like so many women have that experience. And so I thought,
Mm-hmm.
I think the more we share things like that, the more it will be easier for moms. And that's what we should be doing, is making life easier for moms.
Yeah, and I feel like people forget. I was just talking about this with some other recent mom friends, but I feel like after that for like 3-month window, people forget that like your hormones are still all over the place for years sometimes.
Yeah.
Like people just treat you like, oh, she should be normal now. Like, no, I'm still a lunatic in my head. Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that still. I'm 10 months out and I feel like that sometimes for sure.
14 years. It doesn't get better. No, I'm just kidding.
Jax doesn't have a leg to stand on. He's like making up excuses for like why they shouldn't have a second kid instead of just being like, hey, I don't think we're in a healthy enough place to. Instead, he's like
The
I don't
work
know.
stuff. It's like he's inventing work. Like you've been working this whole time. You have a baby already.
And he's like, oh, this baby just needs so much of our attention, right? Jax, that is not it. Like, be honest with her because you're making her feel crazy.
Like I get
Right.
you maybe don't want to be the bad guy, but when it comes to having a kid, like if there's any time to be the bad guy, it's then.
True.
They seem like they're having two different conversations all the time. Like I don't even know if they're in, like, are you guys in the same room or are you like being projected
This is just
into the
edited.
room? Yeah, like you're both actually just talking to the wall and they edited it together.
Yeah, they are not in a good one. We all know that they're divorced now or getting divorced now. So that tracks, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just sad that it's like their first time like trying to get together too in a while and it just went so south.
I also am there's multiple things that really bother me about Jackson Brittany's relationship. One of the things that always bothered me in the beginning parts was I felt like he really objectified her, like making her get a boob job and stuff like that. Like I know she was like down for that and stuff too, but like I think he really has always like just made it very obvious that like that was important to him. And now she's had a baby, and you can tell she looks different and she feels different. And it just like really broke my heart hearing her say things like, well, you could make me feel sexy. Like, it's just so
Yeah,
sad, like where they're at.
it is. Yeah.
And I'm not fully putting all that on Jax. Like, we don't know what it,
It's probably
what
all
it's
his
like,
fault.
but
Honestly.
it's mostly his fault. But yeah, it's just
And then
really hard, like seeing her talk about that stuff too.
yeah, I really did not appreciate how he, like, at the end of that, like, date argument that they got into, he was talking about, I think she kind of recognized that she didn't give him enough credit for something. She was like, "You don't do anything," and I think she meant, like, with the kids, because
Yeah.
they were talking about with the kids.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I don't do anything. What about the house we live in?" And when he said that, he was almost trying to, like, make it seem like to the viewers that he was the one who, like, paid for the entirety of the house and
Yes.
stuff. Is kinda and he was hoping she wouldn't clap back.
And
She
she
did clap
did.
back.
She
Yes.
did. I was so happy that she clapped
Me
back.
too. She's like, "That
Oh,
was
girl.
half my money too." "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
And he just got so quiet.
Well, and she's obviously a very strong female, and she comes from a long line of strong females. So I hate that she is experiencing any hardship, because I do think of the people who have been on like Vanderpump Rules in the Valley. Like, Brittany is probably one of the best actual humans.
I agree,
And she deserves a hell of a lot more than Jax. So
for sure.
I'm glad that she's doing what's best for her now.
Yeah. So story time. We have an Amber-centric story today.
Yay! I like that, Amber centric. That's gonna be
Yeah.
my new
It's got a
username.
nice ring. Oh, yeah.
This is an interesting one. Um, I've been a little nervous to tell this one because it's about my mom. And last year, my mom and I had a falling out, as you do,
Mhm.
and it was not great. It was a pretty rough falling out, and we weren't speaking. We didn't speak for almost a whole year, and we have since made up, and things are good, and we're in a much
Nice.
better, healthier place than we were when
Just
this
needed a little
happened.
space.
We needed some space, definitely.
Mhm.
So some important things to note about this story. Location is really important for you to understand. So I was born and raised in Virginia. I've mentioned that before. It's probably one of the more annoying parts of my personality. Everyone who knows me knows I'm from Virginia, and that's very important to me. And when I was 19, I got pregnant with my son and moved to Florida with my now husband. And my family and most of my husband's family still lives in Virginia. And so a few times a year, we try to go to Virginia and visit. I specifically try to go and visit my best friend Birdie, who we've talked about Birdie before. And we planned a trip just for me to come to her house for the weekend. And normally, when we plan trips together, it's like both of our other college friends, like we do kind of like a girls' weekend type of thing. But this time it was like, this is going to be really chill. We're just going to hang out at your house. I'm going to get to see my goddaughters, get to spend time with them. Like, we're literally just going to hang out in our PJs. Birdie lives about an hour away from my hometown. So my mom still lives in my hometown. And we decided on one of the days that we were going to go to TJ Maxx. And we were going to
Best
take,
store.
yeah, we were going to take my goddaughter, my oldest goddaughter, and we were going to go Christmas shopping, because it was right before Christmas. It was like the very end of October, early November, I want to say. And when we booked this trip, I was like, okay, I don't want to go to our hometown because my mom and I aren't talking. So that's
But an hour seems like a safe
an
distance.
hour seems like a safe distance. So it was like, we can't go to our hometown, which again is an hour away. So that's safe. One of the days we decide to go to TJ Maxx. That is probably halfway between my hometown and where Birdie lives. So probably right in the middle.
Oh. Okay, so we're 30 minutes away from hometown now.
Yes, about 30
Okay.
minutes. Now, it's like a weekday. It's like a Thursday. And we go to TJ Maxx, and I shit you not, we are in TJ Maxx for 30 seconds, and I hear my mother's voice. And let me be very clear, my mom has a distinctive voice. If you know her, you know what she sounds like, which is someone who has smoked a pack a day for the past 40 years, because that's true. And so as soon as I heard it, I was very clear, like, to not move my whole body, because that would be too obvious. And I knew she was behind me. I knew she was behind me. And so I mostly just moved my eyes. I didn't even move my full body. I just looked at Sarah, and I saw her looking back at me with like the same intense, just like, oh my God. Like, we both knew, Birdie and I have been friends since we were in elementary school. So she knows what my mom sounds like. Okay. So she's looking at me. I'm looking at her. My goddaughter's in between us. And just like, what the fuck are the chances? We're in a TJ Maxx. Okay. And we're half an hour from home.
Mm-hmm.
A half an hour. And it's a fucking Thursday afternoon, like 2 p.m.
Same day, same time as you guys. Like, what?
Yes. And she walked in at the same time, like behind us.
No.
So like we got into the store at virtually the exact same time. If we had just been 10 seconds, like if my goddaughter needed her shoe tied or something walking in, we would have ran smack dab into her. And so I'm looking at Birdie, Birdie's looking at me, and I just start, I say nothing. I say not a damn thing. I just start power walking. At TJ Maxx, like everything's just a big circle. And so I just start booking it out of the store. I'm like, that's it. We can't be here. I literally got out the door and like ran to her car and like crouched down and waited for her and my goddaughter to like exit the store in an orderly fashion.
My gosh.
And just she got out to the parking lot, and we were just like, what in the fuck? How is this possible? The exact same time, like the one person I didn't want to run into,
Right.
we ran into her. And that's on being from a small town.
But you weren't even in the small town.
I know.
That's what's what. To me.
I've told this story to so many people. Like, I'll never forget telling my coworkers, because they knew going into the trip that I was nervous that I would run into my mom. Like, we're just going to avoid my hometown. We're just going to stay where Birdie lives. Like, it's going to be fine. We just had to go to fucking TJ Maxx and go Christmas shopping.
If there are any statisticians out there, can you guys tell us, what are the chances?
What are the chances? Well, like, what are the actual odds of this happening? And to this
it's gotta
day,
be low.
When
negligible almost.
Yeah. When my mom and I started talking again and we started to make up, I kept asking Birdie, like, think I should tell her? Like, do you think, I wonder if she saw me. Like, if she saw me, I knew she would have raised holy hell. Like, there's no way she saw me and let me walk out that store. But I still haven't told her. So,
wow.
Maybe this podcast will we'll get back to her. And if so, Mom, I love you. And that scared the shit out of me. But yeah,
and it's all love.
We ran away. We ran away and like called everyone we knew. Like, can you believe that this happened?
Oh,
like, I'm on the phone with my husband. I'm like, I just ran into my mom. And he's like, no, you didn't. There's no way you ran into your mom an hour away.
Right. No, literally, there's no way, but I did.
But it happened.
Yeah.
There's no way, but I went through it.
Right.
So
I'm actually like breathed from running in this moment. Like,
I was so stressed. I have never. We got back to Birdie's house and I like cracked a bottle of wine open so fast. This is terrible. It was a lot.
It seems appropriate.
Yeah. So
So I have just a kind of short little funny anecdote. Maybe it'll be funny to some people. It wasn't super funny to me in the moment, but I went to the dermatologist. I'm so proud of myself because one thing that a goal I set with my therapist is making the doctor's appointments that I need to go to, because I hate it. Oh, I hate going to the doctor.
the worst.
It is the worst. And then one of them I have to actually call my insurance company so that I can go. I hate it. And she really validated me, actually. She said, "Oh, that one's going to take some heavy lifting." She said, "Give yourself a week for that." I'm like,
Nice.
I
Nice.
I love you. And okay. So I did it though. I was very proud of myself. I have not been to the dermatologist in far too long. It's
Yeah.
been maybe 2011 the last time I went. I know, not recommended, not supposed to go that long. Here we are. I forgot about the whole you like actually like get down to your underwear part. So I just don't think I wore like the most appropriate underwear for this.
This
It's
is
like a
incredible.
lacy, like Victoria's Secret thong.
You're like, I was just here to woo you, I thought.
It's like a
That's
bit
not what we're
cheeky.
doing. It's like a bit cheeky. A little bit.
There's one point where I had to stand up and he's like, "Just stand up so I can look at the back of your legs." And I'm like kind of trying to like fiddle with the drape to like cover my cheeks, but every time I did, like I was covering my legs. So at the end I was just like, "All right, it's just going to be ass out." And I almost said something. I almost said like, "Sorry, didn't wear the right underwear," but I felt like that would have made it more awkward.
Literally die if you had said that.
Like, I was so close. And I was like, "Tori,
Sorry.
just keep your mouth shut for once."
If we learned anything this week, it's just shut up. Just shut up. Don't talk. You don't have to. You can actually choose to say nothing. I
And I
know.
did. So maybe that's a win too, honestly. I said nothing about it. I said nothing about it, and we just kept talking about other stuff
The
as my butt
weather
was
as your
was
cheeks
out
start
for
to
all to see.
I mean, somebody has to entertain the dermatologist. Okay?
Mhm,
And this
mhm.
week it was you.
I forgot about our list because I didn't move it over.
Oh, we do have a list. Okay.
Some of these we might take out. They might be a little
Wow, you
silly,
added
but
to it. Good job.
I was on a roll, yeah. Some of them are maybe a little dark.
That's okay. We like that.
It's kind of the theme of the night.
By the way, guys, please email us. And if you have a list that you'd like us to do, we'd love for you to send it in to us.
So this list is adult problems that no one prepared us for. And I do have to credit this one to a coworker of mine who you are also friends with, kind of. So
Were they in your wedding?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yay. Okay.
So the first one I came up with was this is stupid. Top of the list, having to make 3 meals a day.
Nobody warned us and said,
Mm-mm.
hey, you have to cook 3 meals a day for everybody in this house for the
Yeah,
rest of
not
your
only
life.
yourself, but other people are going to depend on you to do that
Yeah.
too.
And as a
And then
kid,
like,
it doesn't seem like it's that much work, Like just make dinner, mom.
right.
No, doesn't work like that.
No.
You don't just make
Also,
dinner.
like, nutrition kind of in general as well. Like, I will say, I think the school did minimal efforts to prepare me for that. Like, there was some kind of health class. I remember seeing a food pyramid a time or two. They did not give it in any like real digestible way to teenagers. Like, I don't remember any of it, so they obviously did a bad job.
Clearly. Clearly. You had a Florida education.
Exactly.
That's from
Yes.
another
Yep.
list.
Yes. Yep. Paying taxes. Lord, every single year I'm gonna fight with everyone around me on this day, on tax day. Like, literally, I cannot help it. I'm sorry if you get in my path. I truly am sorry. I'm angry on this day because
But
I
I
can't
cannot
figure it
be
out.
held responsible.
Right. And also the IRS, tell the IRS that I cannot be held responsible. No one told me
Tell the IRS that I can't be held responsible.
because I got a
I didn't
Florida
ask for this.
education
I
and
didn't
no
ask
one
for
told
this.
me how to do this. Yeah, it's a scam. That's another list we're gonna do. I thought about today, scams,
Yeah.
like insurance.
Mary Kay.
Yes. Any MLM. Yeah. We don't have to get into it now. We'll come back to that. Buying a home.
Yeah,
The
that's right up there
process is
with taxes.
so
Yeah.
yeah. The
Yeah.
process is so convoluted.
It's really complicated. Yes. Hemorrhoids.
Yeah.
Nobody. Well, I guess I should say childbirth in general. Not prepared enough. I'm sorry.
So
What to
yeah.
expect when you're expecting? No, that didn't help me know what to expect at all. Except for like the surface level things that everyone tells you.
So it's kind of funny. I actually made a list. Actually, it's right under this list on our list of lists. And it's called things that no amount of preparation can help with.
Yeah. Giving
And
birth is
giving birth
number
is the
one.
first.
That is fair. It is so fair. Yes, that is so accurate. No preparation. You're right. No preparation will prepare you
There's
for labor.
there's no
So
amount of it that can help,
it's
honestly.
horrible. If there are any expectant moms out there listening, I'm sorry in advance. It sucks. It's not fun. It's the most horrific thing you're ever going to go through, but also the most beautiful. That is true. But it's horrific first.
I will honestly say the 3 months after I think were more horrific to me than like the
The healing.
I was like lucky to have like a very smooth delivery. So
I had decent deliveries both times, and I don't feel like I was in labor for an excessive amount of time either times that I had babies. I still hated it.
yeah. Well, it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant.
It's awful. And I was screaming so loud the second time that there was a med student that I allowed to be in the room. She was really sweet, really young, so baby-faced and sweet, and I think I took away her innocence.
She quit her job after.
Yeah, because
She changed her major.
They told me to stop screaming so loud, and I was like, I'm going to
Excuse
scream
me?
louder now. Thanks. You done pissed me off.
Who
Yeah.
told you that?
One of the nurses was like,
Oh my
asked me
God.
to quiet. I was like, do you think I want to be screaming?
Right.
My vagina is being ripped apart.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
I would freak out if someone told me that in that moment.
Yes. So hemorrhoids, nobody prepares you for that. Heartburn, acid reflux. I never, ever, ever experienced either of those things until I was pregnant. And so then I just thought I was dying. And I thought I was being I would like gaslit myself. I thought I was being so dramatic because it would be like every night trying to go to sleep. And as soon as I would lay down, I would start to feel it. And I had no idea how to describe it or how to I didn't realize it was just heartburn.
Right. That when I first started having heartburn, I was also about 19, I think, but it wasn't it for me it just like came because I was eating Taco Bell every day.
Same thing.
Twice a day. And I thought I was having a heart attack every time.
Yeah.
And I went to the hospital multiple times because I was having a panic attack because I was having heartburn, thinking it was a heart attack. And
my father literally died of a heart attack too. So I remember just thinking this is it for me. This is how I go out 19 and pregnant. No, it's just heartburn, babe. You're okay. You're all right.
It feels so scary in the moment.
It does.
Especially when you don't know what it is.
But I honestly don't really struggle with that otherwise.
Nice.
When I'm not pregnant.
These two go hand in hand. Interest rates and buying a car.
Yeah.
And investing. All of those things.
Why didn't anyone tell you that it takes 12 hours minimum to buy a car?
Right.
You're at the dealership for 12 hours. At least you live there now. You have to move in. You're paying the mortgage. Your name's not even on it.
I went right before work to get my car. At early. in the day, like, as soon as they opened, because I had found the one online that I wanted. I drove 40 minutes to go get it. It takes forever.
It's the worst. Like, how many times have we DoorDashed food here? How long have we been here? What is this time warp? It's terrible.
Mhm. Mhm. This one's a little dark. They don't really teach you when you're younger how to do, like, all they teach you is how to be, like, a good contributing member to a capitalistic society.
Correct.
Um, and they don't really teach you, like, work-life balance or, like, mental health care at all. And then you turn 19 and you have a heartburn and you think you're dying.
I have a heartburn. I don't think there is, first of all, there is no such thing as balance. So I think that would be the first and foremost, the most important thing to tell us is, hey, this just doesn't exist. You're trying to ascertain something that you cannot. You
The
cannot.
unattainable.
It's not attainable. It's just not. You're going to feel crazy. I think if they started there,
True.
who is they, first of all? I say this to my mom all the time because she says things like, well, you know what they say? And I'm always like, who is they? Who is the they, though? The they is just your brain, okay?
Mhm.
Most of the time.
And right. Influences on children, though, I feel like in this scenario, like, the school systems and parents and
Yeah.
coaches and, no one. All of these people could have warned me about all of these things on the list, and not one of them did.
Help a sister out.
Right.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Working while menstruating?
I think it should not be allowed, okay? Like,
Right.
we should not,
This is how you can tell the world was set up for male success. They literally don't. I'm sure you've heard about how NASA tried to send some woman up to space with, like, 100 tampons for, like, 3 days.
yes.
Okay.
It's just like men trying to plan anything is humorous.
Yes, yeah.
Like, you just can't do that, honey.
How often you have to buy tires?
How often you have to buy anything car related, because it's always
Yes.
something with a
Mhm.
car. But yes to the tires, because that's hella expensive and it makes me so angry. I had to do that
Every
recently.
time.
My husband works shift work. He gets off at like 2 o'clock in the morning, came out of the hospital, flat tire, like totally flat. Like, you can't patch this. It's
Darn.
not gonna happen. So we had to replace all of it. Now, granted, our tires needed to be replaced. It was fair that
Mhm.
that one was flat. Like, it should be flat. They should have all been flat, probably. But I was not happy about it.
No. It's never a good thing. It's the worst thing you have to spend a bunch of money on as an adult, I think,
Anything
honestly.
car related, I agree. Yeah.
It's the least fun, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even benefit from this whatsoever.
No, I mean, I'm getting around, but it feels like it was doing that before.
I don't want to get around. I'm hoping to not.
Sorry, I can't make it to work. Tire's flat. Can't you get new ones? Actually, no.
I was supposed to go to the office the day that we had to get them replaced. I work remote like 99.9% of the time. And like the 0.01% of the time that I have to go to the office, it's like, oh, I can't because fucking tire is flat. Like, that doesn't even
Car doesn't go.
the car won't go. I don't know.
Mhm.
I can't walk there.
Yard maintenance, like, maybe I should be happy about this, that I didn't learn about it as a teenager. Like, I didn't have to go out and, like, mow the lawn and stuff. So, like, I guess that part is nice, but also, like,
I feel like I knew
don't know
this
how
one was
to.
coming because I was the type of kid whose parents made them do yard work. And mowing our yard was not an easy thing because it's just a hill.
Y'all couldn't even keep the car on the
Couldn't even keep
hill.
the car up there. That story. Couldn't keep the humans on there. Like, no, it was not good. It was not.
It seems awful because, like, whether you go, like, horizontally or vertically up
There's
the
no
hill,
good
it's
way.
terrible
There's no good
either
way. And
way.
my parents were very big on, like, after you're done mowing the yard, you have to rake all the clippings and then
Oh
carry the
my
piles
gosh.
into the woods. It couldn't be the perimeter of the woods because then people could see it. You have to My dad would be like, "No, Amber, you have to walk into the woods." I'm like, "There's bears in there. I'm not.
There's
I'm not
bears.
going in there to drop the grass clippings. I'm gonna drop them on the perimeter." And then I would get yelled at. Then I'd have to move it. So I just did double the work. So I feel like I did probably was prepared for this, but I just put my blinders on.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna blame it on my parents though. That's their
And you
fault.
lived at an apartment for, like, some amount of years, before moving into your house, so you kinda get used to not doing the lawn m maintenance, and then it was like it's like, what is that even? Who
Yes.
knows?
Well, and in Florida, like your grass grows like 3 feet a day. So you have no
Mhm.
choice but to keep up with it. And if you live in a stupid HOA neighborhood like we do,
Which is almost your only option.
it pretty much,
Mhm.
pretty much. And it sucks. It
Mhm.
sucks. They just charge you money to make you keep your house
Mm.
clean. Not even
Uh,
clean, just I don't even
mode.
know. Starting to lose steam here.
The terms that they use when you're signing up for insurance, like, where was that class? Where's that pamphlet?
Yeah.
I need definitions with
Yeah.
this stuff. Like, the amount of Googling I have to do every time I have to sign up for a new insurance policy is absolutely I'm probably keeping Google afloat myself.
Yeah. No, for real. And we call this at work, we call this clearing the terms when you're not
Mm,
like totally sure what something means. Um,
I like that. I'm gonna use that at work. I had to call actually about a term the other day. I wish I had this in my pocket. I'd be like, "Hey, can you just clear up this term for me?"
yes, it really
Oh
helps
my god.
because a lot of times I don't know what question to ask when I'm stuck on something. So I'm just like, can you help me just clear the terms? Can we clear the terms first? And then at least we'll know we're on the same page
Ah,
about what
I
those
love that.
terms mean. And then we can move forward. So my boss taught me that. Yeah, can clear these terms.
I love that.
I don't
Okay.
know if
Take
that's like a typical, let us know. Is that corporate slang? Do they use that?
yeah.
Or is that just
We
my
wouldn't
boss?
know.
Don't know.
Hangovers, and let me say, like, when I say hangovers, I did get hangovers when I was younger, but it was because I drank a half of a handle to
Right.
myself.
It's because I
Mm.
had the Four Locos before they redid the recipe,
Yes,
you know?
okay? Now when I get a hangover, it's because I had 2 beverages,
I'm gonna be
after
hungover
8
tomorrow. I had a
PM.
glass of wine. Not
That's
not
it.
even kidding. I'll be raging hungover tomorrow.
No one prepared me for that.
Mm-mm.
And my body actually kinda tricked me, if I'm being honest, like, it used to be like, "Nope, this is fine," and then one day I was like, "Ah, we can't do that."
Expecting you to actually know what you did.
Sorry, that was probably really loud.
Mm.
Having to make your own doctor's appointments, like, again, I'm trying this is one I'm personally working on at the moment. It's a bit of an obstacle for me. Um,
Let us
but
know if it's for you too.
we're working on it. Sometimes I do call my mom and have her make it, but she's been getting frustrated with that lately. 'Cause she doesn't, like, know my work schedule, and then I'm like, "No, that doesn't work," so then she has to call them back, and it's kind of
That's hilarious. So she's basically playing a game of telephone with your doctor's offices. Like, yeah, that'll work. I'll call you back if it doesn't.
yeah, so I've stepped up
Does
a
she
little
pretend to
bit.
be you?
No.
She lets them know, like, hey, this is her mom. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing. that reminds me of a little story,
Okay.
actually, just a little one. When
Mhm.
I worked in insurance back in the day, this is like 6, 7 years ago, um, I worked in sales, and you can't give a quote for insurance to a person who's not on the phone unless they give
Yeah.
you permission. And this one time I had this very clearly older gentleman. Like you could hear in his voice that he was seasoned. Okay. You knew he was old. Could hear in his voice. He
Season.
calls. He immediately is like, yeah, I'm just trying to get a quote for my son, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. How old is your son? Oh, he's like in his 20s. I'm like, I can't give you a quote for him. He is not a minor. He has to call himself. Or can I call him right now and ask for his permission? No, he's at work. You can't call him and ask for his permission. I'm like, okay, then you got to call back when
Mhm.
he's got to call back and give permission. Literally hung up the phone. 2 seconds later, go to my next call. It's the same guy, but he's pretending to be his son. And I don't know if he knew that he was talking to the exact same person, because the likelihood, again, somebody out there in statistics, let us know. The likelihood of him getting me again was so small, but
Right.
he did. And the whole time I'm like, and what's your name? And I know it's not him, but there's nothing I can do about it. I have no choice but to
Right.
play along. And
Oh
I
my
ended up giving him a
gosh.
quote, and he, of course, didn't buy it because his son was a jackass and had a bunch of accidents on his record. And I'm like, oh, I literally was on the phone with him when his rate changed, gave him the quote. He accepts it. We go to move forward to buy it. That's when the report gets run to confirm your driving history. And so then it comes back. There's like 4 accidents that he didn't tell me about. And I'm like, oh, you don't remember these? You don't remember these accidents? Because it wasn't you, my brother.
Right.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
anyway,
That's so funny.
that's it.
Speaking of like working at a call center and getting the same caller over and over again, I was working for Xerox, but we were contracted for Verizon. So I was pretty much doing Verizon customer service.
Gotcha.
And sometimes late night we would get some like odd callers. And there was one guy who was very breathy. Like he would just call and breathe. And then like you could not hang up the phone if like there was still a potential
Yeah,
client on the phone.
same.
So he would, every once in a while he would say, well, I'm thinking about getting a policy, or a not a policy, a new phone plan. Can you tell me about that? And so you have to like keep talking to him while he's just going. It was so disturbing. Luckily, my supervisor would like end the call after but I would have to wait a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Um, I got him twice in one night, one time.
No way.
I know, because we were West Coast and it was one of the few call centers like still open. And he called back like 10 minutes later and I'm like, no fucking way.
We're
It's the
not going
breather
through
again.
this again.
It's the breather.
I die. That's
Terrible.
call center life. That's something no one ever prepared you for, because no one was prepared for it
Yeah. My
working in a call
advice,
center. Don't do it.
get out if you can. Like,
Yeah.
it
Don't
does
work.
pay well sometimes, but oof,
Don't
it's
do it. I found it to be totally 100% soul crushing. I thought it was amazing that so many people I worked with were like, this is great. It's so easy. I'm like, I'm getting yelled at. Someone just called me a cunt. I'll never forget that day. I sobbed. Like, I got off that call. I had like 3 supervisors follow me to the bathroom because they saw me like sobbing on the call. And then, like, once I
oh
hung
my
up, like,
god.
I'm like, yeah, he called me a cunt. I'm not okay.
The amount of times I cried at the call center, the couple of them that I worked at, is definitely more than I can count on both my hands.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I probably worked both of them together like 3 years.
Yeah.
I cried all the time. And you just feel like a number. That was my big thing. And I think some people do well in those
Sure.
environments, but it was not it for me.
I agree. I'm the same way. I didn't feel like important, or like, yeah, just like,
Or like I was allowed to pee.
Yeah, I have to clock out. Okay. Great.
Right. Yeah, I would go over my, like, bathroom allowance all the time. I had to get a doctor's note that said that I need to more bathroom time.
Yeah, I had migraines so bad when I worked in insurance that I had to get FMLA because I
Probably
was
because 'cause you're
constantly.
staring at that screen all the
I
time.
really think that had a lot to do with it. I do think me not I think I should have gotten glasses a lot sooner than I did, and I just
Mm.
didn't think my eyesight was that bad, but it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree. I think looking at the screens really is, the biggest part, but also just, like, the stress.
Mhm, and the desks, like, a lot of times don't go up and down, so, like,
Mm-mm.
if you're
You had to, like,
looking
specially
down.
request them.
Mhm,
Same with, like, the ergonomic chairs.
mhm,
Like, we just
and
don't all
then
get those. You have to make a special request.
and then you feel like you're the problem
Yeah,
child.
I have to be a special kind of human in order to get, like, decent treatment. Okay.
Like, a chair that doesn't break my back.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for tonight.
Alright.
Alrighty.
The socials?
That's me, yeah. I'm,
That's
like, waiting
P.
I'm waiting for you to boom.
Out of
Okay.
touch, PCast, something.
Follow us on Instagram at Out of Touch, the letter P cast, no underscores, no spaces. TikTok at Out of Touch Moments. Send us an email if you have any feedback, you just want to chat with us, maybe ideas for episodes or lists. Email us at outoftouchcast@gmail.com.
Boom.
Bye.
That one's so much easier than the intro.